Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗼𝗽𝗏 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Shekhar Iyer ji. We have some important developing information regarding the AI 171. Shekhar ji, namaskar and welcome to 𝗼𝗽𝗏 channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar. Our sincere condolences to the families who have lost their dear ones. This unfortunate crash. All of us are shocked here in India, and also I think whoever has traveled by Boeing Dream Airliner 787, which is supposed to be one of the most modern aircraft, one of the safest aircraft to go down like this, without indicating what really went wrong. And even after 2 days after this disaster, none of us here in India, whether the aviation experts or the Director General of Civil Aviation Safety or the other people who are concerned with aviation security as well as the Ministry of Civil Aviation, none of them have been able to as yet zero in on what could have been the exact causes. For the last 2 days, several aviation experts have been on television offering their theories, offering their what they think could have happened or not happened. And of course, all the experts have been saying that with a lot of disclaimer, saying that there is very little evidence at the moment to say that we rule out this or this is possible or that is possible. But what is coming clear so far, Sree Iyer ji, is this, that everything was okay, the takeoff was okay, but not more than 250 feet. Earlier we said 650 feet. But as the aircraft had just touched 250 feet, suddenly the engine went dead. And the aircraft did not have that pull or the thrust to climb up and just dropped. And if it was anything else, people say if it was something like some other problem in the engine, then there would have been some wobbling or anything. It just dropped. As if the center of gravity has been terribly disturbed, it just dropped. And it dropped over an area of residential areas, particularly medical college, hospital and hostel. And on the ground itself, there have been more than at least 20 people are dead on the ground. And the aircraft itself is all total, it comes to about 274 people have lost their life. Of them, 271 are those who were passengers. And like all miracles that happen, whenever there is an earthquake or there is a rail accident, there is someone who survives. And here is this one person, a British national of Indian origin, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. He just got out of the debris and started limping to safety. By the time the care workers and rescue workers came and took him to hospital. This is one. Then there is a story of a lady, Bhumi Chavan, who missed taking the flight because she reached the airport late by 10 minutes. She was caught in the traffic jam in Ahmedabad and she could reach the airport. Of course, there are others who cancelled their tickets, and a number of them who did not travel on the flight. And the entire Gujarat, since many of the victims are either people of Indian origin who are foreign citizens who are visiting Gujarat, a lot of them are people of Indian origin. So the entire Gujarat is in a state of deep shock. And Gujarat is one state in India, Sree Iyer ji, where people frequently travel, particularly to UK and US or to Europe, to meet their families and friends, or even for business purposes. Now, what is even more sad today is, they were just able to do DNA profiling of just only 8 bodies. The heat, more than 1000 degrees Celsius, had completely charred the body. The body is beyond recognition, and also even the scope for a DNA test was extremely limited. This is actually upsetting a lot of families who are waiting for a finality, in the sense they would get the remains and go ahead with the funeral rites or cremation or burial or whatever. Even that is not possible at this moment, because so far only about um, 8 bodies have been, they have somehow been able to match the DNA, though they have already collected DNA samples from the family members, right from day one. This is one. And the second development, sir, after the government ordered complete checking of all Dreamliners with the Air India, at least 9 of the 34 Dreamliners have been checked, and they have been found to be ordered. The rest of them being checked, because this is being done very fast, because Air India flights are not affected, or the schedule is not thrown out of gear. And today, for the first time, the government of India came out with its version of what happened on June 12th around 1:39 p.m. And the government version was this, that this plane had done Delhi-Paris sector, rather Paris-Delhi, and from Delhi it had been put on the Delhi-Ahmedabad sector, and then from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick. And without any accident, it had flown to several, it had done it had logged a lot of hours flying to so many capitals and places. And fortunately, they have recovered the black box, both the voice recorder as well as the flight data recorder. So that should be beginning of the decoding of perhaps some data which could throw light on what really happened at the last. And what is being emphasized now, Shree, though there are a lot of speculation in this regard, is, was there an angle of some mischief? Was there an angle of sabotage? Leading aviation experts, even retired Air Force officials, are pointing out that this is too early to make any such suggestion, that there's nothing like that. There are no indications. And even the question about Ahmedabad, known for bird hits, whether it's a possibility of a bird hit affecting both the engines. Experts are ruling out it's not possible that both the engines can be hit by birds. That would require a flight of birds. Even that is being ruled out. So that brings us to the question, what could have caused it? And very important, sir, the pilot, the last year was Mayday, saying that, and Mayday is a kind of thing, is a kind of SOS. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. He's supposed to have cried out thrice, which means the pilot and the co-pilot were aware that things had gone out of control. But all this happened in 30 seconds. And a big question is, has it affected the aviation safety record in India? Because this is the first Dreamliner crash, and it has happened in India. Of course, a lot of things are coming out. How is our Civil Aviation Authority functioning? How is the Director General of Civil Aviation Authority? Is it filled with a lot of bureaucrats than aviators? All these, associated questions are coming up. But still, one cannot explain 2-3 things. And a teenage boy, sir, 16-year-old teenage boy, who happened to be on his terrace, and this boy had come to visit his father. That is, I'm talking about Aryan Asari. And this boy is studying in class 12, and he was visiting his father in Ahmedabad. That area is called 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏, which is on the flight path, the airport flight path. He just saw an aircraft flying very low, and he decided to take a video. And he followed the aircraft up to the horizon, and suddenly the aircraft fell. And it is his video that has gone viral. Apparently, he shared it, and he was so traumatized by what he saw. He sent this video to his father, who was at work. And father probably sent it to other friends. That's how the video went viral. And that's the video which has been analyzed several times. There is one video one for CCTV footage that has been taken inside the airport, which is closely monitoring the runway. And this is a video that has been taken from a terrace by this boy, and that has gone viral, and everybody has been trying to study it, but there are too many grains when you enlarge that video, so it's very difficult to say what was the position of the flaps. But basically, it is coming down to this, that what caused the engine to suddenly stop, both the engines, when this airplane is can even manage with one engine power. It could have gone up to a particular height. It could not have. But one thing is clear, it has happened at very low level. That today experts are talking of 250 feet, only 250 feet from the ground. Normally, initially it was thought to be 650, because if it is that level, then the pilots would not have even less than a half a minute to put things right. Of course, in the realm of speculation is whether the co-pilot or the first officer, instead of pushing the instead of getting the landing gear, which was on, which is again odd thing everybody has pointed out, that instead of pushing back the landing gears, he probably flattened the flap, and that probably also could be one of the factors. Of course, people are talking of fuel contamination. People are talking of something going wrong with the avionics, and it is in this context people are talking of whether avionics could have been jammed from an outside gear. And since the fear is running high, people are even asking questions whether the decision to send off the Turkish firm 𝗟𝗟𝗏, which was handling maintenance, has that got to do something with this? Well, I think it's very important. There should not be any speculation, particularly on the angle of sabotage or things like that, though it could make for sensational here. But definitely, there is enough reasons to think that probably there was something in the system. Second thing, quite possible there was some kind of a difficulty that pilots were facing, and there could have been pilot error. But in all this also, sir, there is a fear, there is another apprehension that the multinational corporations like Boeing, they always try to quickly establish pilot error as the reason, because that saves them from a lot of indemnity and in terms of compensation they have to pay. Well, we have heard from President Trump, we have heard from US Transportation Secretary. Very soon you will see Federal Aviation Authority role will be visiting Ahmedabad, because this is after all an American airplane, American-made airplane, and the last word will be said only maybe after 6 months or so. Sir, over to you, Sree Iyer ji. Your thoughts. Sir, you are on the mute.
Thank you, sir. There is an even more deeper forensic analysis that's headed your viewers at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Sridhar Chittalaji, he actually flew from Singapore to Air India today, Singapore to Bengaluru in Air India. And before he boarded the flight, pray for me. I said, no, sir, everything will be fine. Don't worry. And he's going to be joining us. He actually spoke with the pilot. He happened to know the pilot. Coincidence, happy coincidence. He spoke with the pilot about some of the procedures that they follow, checklists you're supposed to sign off. So we are going to discuss all that stuff tomorrow. So do come in and watch that one, because a few theories also get understood better, whether this is it or that is it. There are also some other theories. He'll explain that. Shekharji, the takeaway here is that somebody who has had thousands of years of experience, whether they would make a mistake like pulling up the land, instead of pulling up the landing gear, they make the flats to go zero. Kind of sounds a little difficult to understand. They are completely alert, Shekhar-ji. Landing, you can be a little bit more instrument-based landing. Takeoff, you have to be at the top of your senses, and they're just fresh, right? It's just minutes within the takeoff. I don't know. I mean, see, like you said, there will be, attempts to try and make it look like it was pilot error. We will never know. I think also, Shekhar-ji, one of the pilots survived for some time before he passed away, isn't it?
No, sir. I mean, at least, but I think once the crash happened, I don't think any of the crew members survived.
I see.
There was only one survivor who was a passenger who was seated on 11A. 11A, incidentally, was ahead of 12A, where the former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani was sitting. So, excepting one survivor among the 274 people, that's just one survivor, and that survivor just walked out with some bruises on his face. Otherwise, all are dead. And today, several central security agencies have been involved in trying to recover the debris from the building. For instance, the tail portion had simply stuck inside the men's hostel of that medical college. So, in fact, they got it removed today because that is where they expect the black box to be there. So they have recovered the black box. But what is coming clear is the flight was to take off at 1 p.m. It took off at 1:39 p.m. And at moment it took off, within few minutes, the pilot just managed to say Mayday, 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 which was picked up by the Ahmedabad ATC, which means full emergency. And then it crashed, and the spot is just 2 kilometers from the airport. And since it is, it's a very populated area, so, and what is baffling, as you said, the commander of the aircraft, Captain 𝗤𝗎 𝗔𝗏𝗏, he had about 8,200 hours of flying this aircraft, and so was the first officer. So it's just that, sir, engines lost power at a very critical stage. It just lost power, both the engines. And even people say, even if it's a fuel contamination, both the engines cannot fail at the same time.
Right.
It has to happen to one, and then it has to happen to the other. And even today, the former Air Force chief has said, look, it's too early to think about our sabotage and, to look at the other angle. But then, people generally say that, even it's a double engine failure, there are auxiliary power units in the aircraft, which will let the aircraft glide for some time. It won't make it drop. It won't drop like a stone. Of course, today, some speculation is about whether in the cargo, with the straps holding the, luggage, whether they snapped and boxes started moving inside, thereby affecting the gravity, center of gravity. Even this question is being asked today. But no, but one thing is, sir, we can always say, we can talk about pilots, how they handled or did not handle. But we must remember that the reaction time for the pilots is a small window. It's a small window, which is, at any time, we must remember it's not more than, I'm told, 29 seconds or as best 30 seconds. So within that time, how much can you think and how fast you can react? That's the question. And of course, there's going to be a high panel being set up by the government of India, which has been told to submit a report in 3 months. And I think all our agencies security agencies will also join with this investigation. But at the moment, they are looking for, they are rummaging through the debris to just look for any evidence. Because once the survivor who came out, sir, this Ramesh, Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, he says he probably heard something like a blast, huge sound. Now, whether that sound was caused by the plane after hitting the building, or something happened in the air. But one thing is, the flames leapt because only after the building it crashed into the buildings, and it was carrying 1,25,000 liters of aviation turbine, highly inflammable liquid. And the Home Minister's first, because Home Minister was there at the site, his first reaction was that with that amount of fuel, they could not do anything. By the time even the first rescuers reached, the bodies were charred beyond recognition. But it's a very sad story, which has, upset every person. And incidentally, Sree ji, I was flying during that period, and when I landed where I had to land, and when I switched on my phone, I saw all these messages coming. It was same time between 1 to 3 p.m. And those messages, I couldn't believe. Because these days, because of monsoon and weather conditions, a lot of flights undergo that kind of, they meet with mid-air turbulence, which is a very common occurrence during this part of the season. But then, pilots manage, and Delhi particularly has been seeing a lot of thunderstorms. Of course, one particular, we saw an Indigo flight. What happened to that flight, which was on a Delhi-Srinagar, and then it was closed somewhere near Pathankot or somewhere, but it had to, and Air Force refused permission for it to enter the Pakistani airspace because of the storm. But then it had to go through it, and how they dropped several thousand feet. A lot of them got injured. So this is the kind of challenge we are facing, sir. But then, of late, there has been too many air accidents. I'm not talking of just in India, but other places also. So, in fact, one does wonder, why is it happening like this? If our aircrafts are so good, and if our avionics and modern navigation systems, these are all now highly advanced. It's one of the frontier areas of research and development and technology. So common people are not able to understand. And sir, air travel has become very popular in India. A lot of young people are going abroad. They are trying either for their career, or for travel, for vacation. So there's a lot of focus on this. So whether it is rail safety or air safety or road safety, this has become an engaging subject, because we also hear frequently of road mishaps on our national highways. Trains, have been facing the threat of sabotage. There have been fish plates removed in some places. Boulders have been kept on railway lines. And fortunately for our loco pilots who have been able to discover this in advance, many accident has been averted, apart from the fact there have been some very bad accidents also. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Viewers, one of the things I have to tell you, airplanes are built like tanks. Sir, I'll give you one personal experience, 1996 or 1997. I'm traveling inside Japan, sir. There are two airports in Japan, just like, in India, there's an international, which is Narita. There is a Haneda airport, which is the domestic. So we took off from Haneda and we were flying, this is 1 week before Christmas. So you can understand, northern Japan is pretty cold at that point of time. It was raining hard. And just as we were about to land, about 50 feet before the plane descended, a lightning struck the plane. Lightning struck the plane. And huge sound, sir, huge sound. I thought I was gone. Then immediately the pilot came and announced in English, we had a lightning strike. He didn't even announce in Japanese. And then the plane landed. What I'm trying to say is planes are built to withstand even lightning strikes. And somewhere, it really rankles your mind. If a lightning strike, which is thousands of volts hitting you, it just, goes around the body and it just finds the way to the ground, Shekhar. But it was a very traumatic experience for that 1.5 minutes, seconds or so, when that sound was so loud. So that a plane would crash like this, it just blows my mind, sir. Anyway, this is very, very sad. My hearts go out to all the people, whether they are in UK or in Ahmedabad, wherever they are missing their dear ones. And I think compensation will be there, but compensation cannot make up for the actual loss. And this is really, really sad. But sir, 11A is the first row of economy. And because it is the first row of economy, there is extra legroom in the front. That might explain why Rupani-ji was one row behind the same seat, didn't have that luck. Unfortunate, sir, very unfortunate.
But Vijay Rupani is not the first former Gujarat Chief Minister to die, sir. I mean, there was, because there was in 1965, when India and Pakistan are at war, there was one 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was Chief Minister of Gujarat then, and who was killed because his aircraft was shot down by a Pakistani fighter. The war was on, and he had taken off to somewhere near the Rann of Kutch, and it was a VIP aircraft, and it was shot down by a Pakistani jet. So he's actually the second Gujarat CM. I mean, people in Gujarat are asking that how is it that we have lost two Gujarat Chief Ministers, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and but sir, this accident in Gujarat is bound to have deep impact on the political leadership of Gujarat. For some time now, there has been a feedback coming to the BJP central leadership also that things are not okay in Gujarat. Of course, this is not the focus of our discussion today, but the fact that Home Minister Amit Shah, in fact, last few days in Delhi, sir, the ministers have been briefing the media about 11 years of Modi government. I had attended one such briefing on Monday, but subsequently I found that there's been a series that ministers have been briefing, and it was from one such briefing that Amit Shah had to leave immediately to Ahmedabad. And it is that's what the Prime Minister wanted, somebody to go and take charge. So I'm looking at the possibility of whether this is going to lead to some changes in Gujarat, because this has completely shaken the society there. The people, the civil society, everybody is shaken by this. And now people are raising questions about, the Ahmedabad should have got a second airport, probably a green airport, little far away from the city, because area around the airport is, all these, sir, mute.
Sir, this never works, sir. In India, the city officials are so greedy that they will allow construction, they'll allow any allowance, sir. It is very tough. The airport aviation authority will have to buy 5-6 kilometers around the airport, maximum space. All of that they have to buy up, so that there is no possibility of anybody doing any construction. Even then they'll try. Sir, in Jammu, Rohingyas were housed within the defense land. And Sitaraman was the defense minister at that time. That's when it came to light. India, I'm telling you, the common man has total disregard for the rules. I'm not stereotyping, of course, many do, but these kinds of things, everybody wants to be close to transport, for example, to main road, because that is a big challenge everyday life. Anyway, so we have to take care of it in a more holistic way. So Surat is probably another country, another city that would want an international airport, isn't it?
Yeah, Surat has an airport. Surat has an airport.
International?
No, I don't think flights go international from there, but Surat has an airport. Probably there are connecting flights going abroad. Sir, but sir, what we would wish is, with these inquiries, security inquiry, aviation experts inquiry, so many inquiries are going on. There will be, as I said, the Boeing itself would join, so would US National Transportation Board, Federal Aviation Authority, so many people join. But I hope, sir, an inquiry is to prevent recurrence. So whatever is done must be, we should come out with some kind of a clarity as to what should be done to prevent recurrence, rather than, a blame game or punishing whoever is responsible. Because in India, what has happened is whenever there has been inquiry, rather than addressing the lacunae in the system or the shortcomings in the arrangements or whatever, more tendency has been on the basis of inquiry, suspending some people or firing some people. Well, if there has been gross violation of duty, that has to be done. But I think more important should be, instead of fixing blame, the whole effort should be to prevent recurrence. And I think that would serve. Sir, before I move on to any other subject, I must also recall another crash. We just spoke of one survivor. Sir, there was one great survivor. That was our former Prime Minister Morarji Desai. And Morarji Desai, sir, in 1977, soon after he had become Prime Minister, he had gone his first visit to the Northeast. And he flew in a Tu-124K, which is actually a Soviet aircraft, Tupolev. And this landed, rather crash landed 4 kilometers away from the Jorhat airport. And portion of the aircraft was on a treetop. And 5 crew members were killed. And the then serving Prime Minister of India, Morarji Desai, was rescued without any injury to his body. And at that time, he was 81 years age. His son, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗙, was traveling with him. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗙 Desai. He had a fracture in his leg. He was limping. His father was walking out. And about that also, there is a bit of a dimension which is quite controversial. It seems Morarji Desai insisted on flying that evening, despite the dusk setting in. Sir, we know in the Northeast the sun sets early, so it was quite dark. But Morarji Desai insisted on flying, and P.K. Thungon, who was Arunachal Chief Minister, who was on the aircraft with him, said we should not fly down. So, and how they differed, and Morarji Desai insisted, and said, incidentally, that aircraft had the IB Director of India, John Lobo, traveling in that plane.
And he was okay?
He was, I think, with slight injuries, but everybody was astonished how Morarji survived this. And of course, we know next year, that is 1978, we know how much problems he faced. And by 79, you saw Indira Gandhi encouraging a revolt by Charan Singh. Anyway, these are reminders.
One curiosity question, sir. I have heard that in the last decade of his life, or maybe from the time around 70s or so, his diet, Morarji Desai's diet, was only nuts and dry nuts and cashews and kishmish and stuff like that. Nothing else. That's all he used to eat, I believe.
And probably goat's milk, if I remember.
Okay.
Something Gandhiji also used to have. But then he was a stickler for disciplinarian. And though people were not willing to accept his pension for urine therapy, they said, Gomutra.
Isn't it overdone? 3 drops, he would say, he would put it and drink it in the morning with water. I think he need not have mentioned it. I completely agree. But they made it Morarjin, and those days media was something else.
Sir, not only that, sir, that was an era where it was the first government not supported by the Congress.
Yeah.
Sir, truly the first non-Congress government was headed by Morarji Desai. Because the other governments, like for instance, and the unfortunate part, the failure of Janata Party experiment was because of that reason. A government without a Congress support, without a role of the Congress, did not last long. And subsequently also, sir, in 96, Vajpayee's 13-day government fell because other parties were not willing to back the BJP-led government. And then you had 2 coalition governments, all supported by the Congress from outside. And they were not allowed to last because Congress never wanted them to last. For instance, take for instance the government, Charan Singh was tempted to become Prime Minister by Indira Gandhi. That did not last, not even a couple of months. Similarly, Chandrasekhar's government, it lasted only hardly 90 days. Then this whole controversy about 2 constables spying, Haryana constables spying on Rajiv Gandhi became such an issue. So this is the story. So here we are, we are all in a state of grief over what has happened in Ahmedabad. And is there any more points that you would like to add, sir?
Well, viewers, when you get a chance, watch my discussions with Dr. Swami on Swami remembers various prime ministers, Indira Gandhi, Morarji Desai, Charan Singh, Chandrasekhar, VP Singh, Deva Gowda. Some of the stories are hilarious. Shekharji, did you know that Deva Gowda was living with Dr. Swami when he became the prime minister? And what he would do was, all these confabulations are going on. Who will become the kaun banega pradhan mantri? So he would constantly go to the cook and say, "Ek chai mere liye, ek chai mere liye," and he would just keep drinking tea and then go talk to somebody on phone, come back, sit, pace the room, and things like that. Then comes the announcement that Deva Gowda is the new prime minister. So the tea person said, "Kal tak chai pi raha tha, aaj pradhan mantri ban gaya."
Those were.
Let's go to the second topic, sir.
Yeah, sir. Before I move on to, we are going. That's about Trinamool Congress, Bengal politics. 2 things have happened. I think we need to touch, though we didn't flag it at the beginning. One is, sir, after the tragedy we saw in Bengaluru, the way the Royal Challengers relating the winning the trophy and attempt at celebration or trying to hog headlines by the politicians resulted in a tragedy, the stampede. Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar were called to Delhi by Congress High Command. Summoned, rather. and initially it was thought probably they had to do some explanation regarding this whole thing. Okay, how did they end up, with so much of mud on their faces by a felicitation that was entirely political, and that exposed the lack of preparation, basic crowd management. That was one. But the second thing, sir, which has been troubling Karnataka for some time, which is that caste survey, which was undertaken during Siddaramaiah's first term. It was started somewhere in 2015, it was submitted in 2016. So explosive were those findings, they decided to sit over it. Now, Siddaramaiah in his second term thought he is now, he can score a political point by releasing those surveys. Now, incidentally, states cannot conduct census. They can only conduct surveys. Census is a central subject. Now, what has happened, sir? Whatever details that have come out in that 2015-16 survey, they got leaked because it was discussed in cabinet and it was to be published, put in public domain. But whatever got leaked, it completely upset the existing political castes or the political arrangements and castes, because the number of Lingayats and the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, that figure seems to have dropped by 2 to 3%. So what was thought to be 15% was shown as 12%. And this has upset, the whole lot, the most dominating political caste and their leaders. So they went to Siddaramaiah saying, "Don't release this. If you release this, we will be in trouble." And person who was opposed to the release is D.K. Shivakumar. Because vocal leaders have been shown that they are not, that they were shown somewhere 11 to 12%, whereas they were thought to be 15%. Similarly, Lingayats were considered to be 15-16%, in some places even 17%. Their figures were shown to be close to 13%. So vocal Lingas at 11% and Lingayats at 13%. And this was, and the figures of other castes other intermediate castes, particularly castes which are part of that 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗐𝗐 Ainda, were shown to have gone up. Sir, same allegations were made in 𝗟 𝗏𝗡𝗻 survey in Bihar also. That MBCs and extreme classes where figures were up. Even Yadav figures were up, so were minorities. But the other castes, the non-reserved categories, were shown as far below the numbers, and Nitish Kumar went ahead and announced reservation up to 75%. Now, this particular thing we hear is, sir, Rahul Gandhi wanted to know why is the survey not being published. Then he gave down on, Telangana did a survey, that survey, and he has been talking about the Telangana survey, which is about social conditions, social economic conditions, and which was done by Revanth Reddy in some kind of a quickie. And that has been touted by Rahul Gandhi as one of the best things to be followed. They want even central government to follow that in a caste census, regular census. A survey model, they want to be followed in a caste census. Now, when 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗐𝗐, when D.K. Shivakumar said, look, we cannot publish this because these are our problems. This will affect us terribly and BJP will gain advantage. Then Rahul Gandhi ordered, sir, I am using the word, ordered 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗐𝗍 to get another survey done. And 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍 could not accept it. He tried to defend the survey. He tried to defend this survey and saying no. But Rahul Gandhi said, nothing doing, go back and get another survey done, take advice from Revanth Reddy. It was very difficult for 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍 to say, this survey which was undertaken his first term has to be dumped. So when he came out, when the media asked him, he said, look, no, this is not the decision of the state government. This is not the decision of my government. This is the decision of the Congress High Command. He has been saying. Now people are asking, who the hell is Congress High Command to order a Karnataka state government to undertake a fresh survey? Who is this Congress High Command? And he has been, 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍 has been maintaining this. Ever since he returned from Delhi, he says, no, nothing has happened to this survey. This survey will remain. The second survey will continue. The question that is being asked, it's a very valid question. First survey cost the state government 165 crores. Now, is that money all down the drain? They have spent 165 crores for the first survey. Are they going to spend another, say, 170, or by today's cost, it could be even 180 crores or even 200 crores? When central government has already announced a survey, announced a caste survey. Census. Caste is to be counted along with the general census. But this thing, sir, that Congress High Command, and 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍, when he says this, you can see how much disgusted he is with the High Command. Congress High Command has told us to do the survey. Sir.
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತು. What you need to do is have some NGO file a lawsuit saying that this has cost the exchequer so much. Already one survey is done. There is no need for another survey. Get a stay on the survey process. Because it's clear somebody wants to fudge the numbers. Whatever fudging, I don't know. They want an expected outcome. That's why you do another round. So this is going to be very unscientific. Just have quietly one NGO go and bring a stay order. Ashte matter alle hoytu. Why do you want to say it is central command decision? Why are you trying to jeopardize your own gaddi? I don't understand. Sir, back to you, sir. We'll go to TMC.
Yes, sir. Sir, on our show, every week we do take up one state which is going to polls in 2026. And this time the news is from West Bengal, where Mamata, after, she consecrated, I'm using the word consecrated, after she consecrated that Jagannath Dham in Digha, which is now being objected to by the Puri Jagannath authorities. They have objected to the word use of Dham. There can be
Yes.
only char dham, and this Puri is one of the dhams. And you cannot add dham to your thing. And it is becoming quite a controversial issue. But the 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 Jagannath temple complex in Riga, which is by the sea, has been attracting a lot of people. Now, even as this is going on, sir, communal tensions have been flaring up in Bengal. First, we saw the Murshidabad riots where Hindus were systematically attacked in the name of protest over Waqf bill, the new Waqf Act. That was they were targeted, and for the first time in Bengal, Hindus fled from areas where the demographic left them in a state of panic or in fear, and they just crossed over to the other side of the Ganges in self-protection, and this caught national attention, and Mamata was on the back foot. Now, after that, sir, that is the Murshidabad violence. The second series of violences happened in what is called on the outskirts of Kolkata, which is the Sharmishta Panoli. This is a place in South 24 Paraganas. And there again clashes have happened where again the people who have been affected happen to be Hindu families. Their shops have been targeted, their other commercial establishments have been targeted. So what there seems to be a pattern where the ruling Trinamool Congress, their functionaries are somehow seem to be having their hands tied when it comes to attacks on Hindus in these places. And anybody who tries to point out that there is a definite communal angle, Mamata has been cracking down on them, trying to put them under saying that you are fanning the communal violence. But the fact remains that this has agitated not just the opposition parties, but even the civil society in Bengal as to what is happening. Now, sir, at this juncture, Mamata has always been worried about one thing, sir, from 2021 onwards, which is she has been worried about, slide in the minority votes for her party. That is because in 2021, a cleric of the famous Furfura Sharif, one Abbas Siddiqui, started a party called Indian Secular Front. Now, this party contested the elections and they won one seat, that is Bangor. And there was terrible violence between these activists of ISF, who all happened to be Muslim youth, and Trinamool Congress. So that itself set alarm in Mamata's mind, because Mamata's formula of winning in West Bengal is simple: 30% full minority votes, 100% of the 30% votes, Muslim votes, plus women votes, because with our Mati Manush and all, freebies for women. And with this two combination, she has been winning. And for her, the rise of Indian Secular Front has been worrying them. And Indian Secular Front has been attracting those sections of voters who happen to be minorities, who are also unhappy with the quality of governance. Because Mamata has not discriminated between our Hindu voters and Muslim voters in the kind of quality of governance she has delivered. It's too bad. So that the people who don't want to vote Mamata again, and those voters who cannot vote for the BJP, they have been looking at Indian Secular Front as some kind of an alternative. And that is why, sir, in 2021 polls, this floating of this party by this cleric, Abbas Siddiqui. So this time Mamata has decided to, invade the family of Siddiquis, who are the traditional, clerics of this powerful Furfura Sharif. So what we just saw one thing, that Mamata visited that shrine in March, this Furfura Sharif shrine. It's a Sufi shrine, but she went there, and there she met another cleric, another top cleric. His name is Pirzada Qasim Siddiqui. He happens to be cousin of this Abbas Siddiqui, who has set up the anti-Mamata Indian Secular Front. And she got this Pirzada Azim Siddiqui to become General Secretary of her party. After that, we heard that this Naushad Siddiqui is also, who is an MLA who got elected for Bengal. He also met Mamata. So Mamata is trying to send feelers to the Indian Secular Front also. Through is that Naushad Siddiqui, who is the brother of Abbas Siddiqui, that the Muslim vote must not split. Because our worry is that given, after 15 years of her rule, and she feels that in terms of number of seats as well as popular vote, Trinamool could be headed for a slide. So that's why she is trying to gear up this. And whole idea is that she still wants that 100% of Muslim votes, because that's a solid base for her. I thought our viewers must know the latest developments happening. And in all our show, we'll take up one state where we will look at what's happening, because a lot of political activities in Assam, in West Bengal, in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, sir. And I was watching a speech by the Kerala BJP president. I don't remember his name. He lost to Shashi Tharoor. Pretty good. He was speaking well. I thought a lot more English will be used. He did use a few English words, but that's par for the course, sir. Every language now, there is a little bit of English all the time. But he did a really good job. I like the way he explained it. I mean, somebody who's very sketchy in his understanding of Malayalam, I could follow it. Viewers, Malayalam is actually easy to follow. If you speak Shuddha Hindi, you can follow Malayalam comfortably, just like you can follow Marathi or Shuddha Punjabi or Shuddha Bengali, Shuddha Telugu. They all are very, very strong base in Sanskritam. So is Kannada also. Sir, let's take some questions now. My 1 cent here is, sir, Mamata's time is up. I don't think 3 terms is more than enough. Even the most forgiving Bengali voter, I think, would realize that. The bigger challenge that BJP has is to make sure that voter fear, because if they come out and vote, they'll be taken to task afterwards. That part, sir, it's very easy to do this, sir. It is not that hard. What you need to do is round up all the cheaters and put them in preventive custody for 1 week before the elections. 1 week or 1 month. 1 week should be enough. And they can't be out on the streets. This requires the see, because once you announce elections, isn't it true that the law and order comes into the control of election commission, sir?
It does. I mean, once the notification is issued, election commission takes full charge, the entire process of conduct of election.
Yeah.
So, sir, before we take questions, there is some breaking news coming from the US, where some Minnesota lawmakers have been shot dead. And
oh, they're dead? They're dead?
Yes.
Two Minnesota senators, one senator and one congresswoman, I think.
I think they are dead. And I mean, why is the political violence taking this shape, sir? Yeah, they have been assassinated. Yes.
Sir, it was not just the person, sir. The spouse also was hit at.
Yes.
And
this is Melissa Hotman, who is a Democratic lawmaker and former House Speaker, and her husband, Mark. They were killed in a shooting at their Brooklyn Park home. And another Democratic lawmaker, State Senator John Hoffman, and his wife were shot multiple times in their Chamberlain home, but are expected to survive. And the shootings appear to be politically motivated assassination. Now, it looks like there is so much of violence. And what's the latest on has Los Angeles calmed down after deployment of National Guards and Marines?
They're starting to put curfew. They have rounded up hundreds. They're arrested. And the deportation is going on very, very robustly, sir. 1,000 people a day. Trump wanted 3,000 a day. They are deporting 1,000 people a day. I just saw the number, 146,000 now. 146,000 deported. Every so often I update this value for our viewers. It is going up and it is steady. They are catching and then taking them out. taking them out, getting them out of the country. But it's not an easy process, sir. All the jails are now filled, including Guantanamo Bay. So the El Salvador area is only for real bad criminals. But for others, I think they are just trying to push them out into Mexico and, telling you go back to your own country, don't stay here. But that's where the George Soros camp takes over again. Sir, as far as Minnesota is concerned, Minnesota is supposed to be a very liberal state. It's settled by people from the Sweden, Norway, Finland, very liberal mindset people, and that's where much of the initial immigration was. But under Obama's tenure, a lot of Muslims have come in and taken refuge there. Somalia, for example. That's why Ilhan Omar continues to win, and there are many such pockets. So Minnesota is where Tim Walz is the governor. He was the guy who was the running mate of Kamala Harris, and that guy is a clown, in my opinion. And so there is something going on there. Definitely there is something going on. Sir, the Democratic Party is in shambles. Many moderate Democrats are very uncomfortable with the aggressive posture being taken by the progressives. They're all saying that, we will shoot anybody who tries to deport illegals. That sort of language they are using, Shekharji. They are just anti-national. One line. There's one guy who has recorded speeches in Chinese on how to evade detection once you are illegal inside the United States. It's just ludicrous. I mean, even Congress in India hasn't stooped this low. Let me put it that way. So let's take some questions, sir. I just have one question.
Sir,
yeah, sir.
Just before you move on to the question, just one more thing. Sir, the pumpkin of the day. The pumpkin of the day is Pakistani Army Chief General Asif Munir. Such a hype was built that he is only one army chief who has been invited for the military parade.
Yes.
Because he's visiting Washington. Today, the denial has come that he has not been invited for the military parade, which the Trump has voted this. So, and the whole hype was built by, the Pakistan social media and by the Pakistan military that, despite the Operation Sindoor, Asif Munir's standing has gone up and that he has gone to the US to attend this year. But today, it has completely been denied. This is a very interesting, graphics that has been doing the social media.
Yes.
How, there is a possibility that Pakistani army chief would have a hand could be involved in Israeli bumping of the Iran's top military general.
Yes. So who knows, sir, what's happening? But it was a very interesting story. Pakistan hasn't denied it. Pakistan hasn't denied it, sir.
Sir, they are recovering from this Munir not being in the guest list of the military parade.
Here's the question. Naresh, you're asking a lot of technical questions. I'm just going to give one question. How are the OTA updates on Boeing and any software issue, and where the pilots explained on the same, your views? Actually, they have to go back and retrain in the simulator because there was one major update. Naresh, you need to watch Kalavai Venkat's discussion with me on this. Sir, your answer.
Well, sir, there has been periodically they have been going for refresher trainings and upgradation of skills. That has been going on. And all our pilots who are handling the Dreamliners, none of them have faced any technical challenge. Yeah. There have been some issues in terms of the system Dreamliners, but they were not considered very serious. Of course, there are reports that this particular aircraft, which was involved in this crash, has had some problems, has had some technical glitches. Whether those technical glitches contributed to this crash of June 12th, we don't know.
Thank you so much, Shekhar ji. That was a wonderful discussion. Viewers, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. We'll be back with Shekhar ji on Wednesday, same time. Namaskar.
Namaskar.